What is up, home skillets? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be watching Indiana Tech and St. Clair Green. This is the St. Clair A team. Zeno is Arju. You're all caught up. This was a big upset win this past week in a long string of upset wins, actually. And Reshi hits a crazy sidewall here. Get ready. That's crazy. That's his spot too, because he hit. It was more of a corner read that he flipped into and nailed with the tight angle at Scenic City Invitational, but dang, Reshi, that's called him Reggie. Dang, Reshi, pretty good. We are going to be skipping through a lot of these opening replays today because this was a 6-game best of 7, and I am not recording an hour-long video. Dang, you just straight up beat everyone in the St. Clair corner. What on earth? Jazzy's sticking around, gonna be annoying. Sai is in the corner, gets pinched over, and Arju expects Sai to hit that ball. Yeah, really rough. And Indiana Tech, this is game 1. We're gonna be watching all the goals, like the first 4 games, and then we'll probably watch the full 5th and 6th game. But again, just corner play. Okay. This happened on Tuesday. I was streaming a pre-recorded version of Collegiate Exclusive into Tuesday Night Lights. No, that's wrong. This is Wednesday Night Lights, Collegiate Exclusive. You get the gist. I just woke up. And so I didn't really get to react on podcast. What? Blue gets bumped into this. Good setup. Blue's coming off the sidewall, and yeah, gets bumped with recoil into that shot. Okay, weird game 1. Indiana Tech win 5-2. We're going to the next game because there's a lot of content to watch here. So we'll watch this opening sequence of pressure from Indiana Tech. A couple of saves made because they've been looking terrifying through the corners, and St. Clair seemed to have some gaps back there. That's at least in game 1, Indiana Tech exploited. But 0-0 until 90 seconds left. And let's see. I'm gonna pause real fast so I can actually focus on saying what upsets happened on Wednesday. Bruton Parker beat Baylor 3-1. Big revenge game for them because Baylor's current director is the former Bruton Parker director. Interesting lore deep cut right there. And then we had Northwood go down 4-1 to Leslie in a best of 7, which is insane. And then you had this win for Indiana Tech, and there is another series that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but I'll see if I can find some replays for it after the fact. Right now, this is game 2. Indiana Tech went up 1-0 in this series. It's a great 50-50. And this is all just grimy, grindy corner play into center ball scoring for both sides outside of the Reshiram sidewall double. Cool. What a block. Still results in a goal though, because Velocity demos everybody. I love Velocity's play. All right, so St. Clair we've talked about enough on this channel to where you should know about it. We watched them lose to Cumberland, we watched them scrim Baylor, and we've watched a lot of St. Clair on this channel, so you should know about them. They won CRL in the spring, so their reputation should precede them. Indiana Tech, though, you probably don't know a lot about. That's a rough concession, and that's actually what ends up giving the game up. We'll watch this last bit of pressure from Indiana Tech, trying to tie us up in regulation, but Indiana Tech is probably one of the hottest teams in Collegiate Rocket League. At the Scenic City Invitational, they made it to the upper bracket finals. They placed top 3. They lost to Concord and ETSU back-to-back, and those were their only losses in best of 7. And they were bad losses because it was back-to-back 4-1s where Indiana Tech didn't get a game until game 4, and so that was a rough way to exit what otherwise was a phenomenal LAN, where they beat Bruton Parker 3-0, they beat St. Edwards 3-0, they beat Akron with Milio playing in place of 5-up 3-2. They denied a reverse sweep in game 7. or game 5, sorry, game 5. So Indiana Tech, really hot. I had them ranked 11 last week going into CRL. And then they ended up losing to, I think, Michigan State and Concord. So I dropped them down a little bit to 15, I believe, which I think is reasonable considering their losses at the moment. My opening goal for St. Clair here. And they have found a way to slow down Indiana Tech. And this is the best of 7, so you give up 5 goals through the corner and off of a sidewall psycho in game 1. I don't think St. Clair are sweating too hard because they're in the pool of teams that I think play these main leagues just for good reps, good practice, and some money and lands that comes with it. But I think they are mainly a CRL roster. Like they are here to play and win CRL, which fair enough. It discounts these losses a little bit, and I think you have to take that context into account a little bit when you are judging these losses. But that's CRL right now. Everything's contextual. You don't know which team has a third that's lagging. You don't know which team had a third that woke up 5 minutes before their series, and yeah. But you still take the wins and losses as they come. You still factor them in when having these discussions. And you still talk about Reshi and his on-ball ability. His mechanics, and this is one of the reasons I love Indiana Tech. I think their play style is centered around a very well-rounded team. And I don't know enough about the individuals. I haven't watched enough of the individuals to tell you that they're all well-rounded, but I think they all excel at something different. I think Reshi, mechanically, is one of the strongest players in the CRL scene. And the stuff he can hit on the pitch pretty regularly is extremely impressive. And velocity, Tater might be the glue on the field, but velocity is an actual glue player. He is so good at creating space with off-ball utility. And what I mean by that is in the midfield, he's extremely strong at making good reads, taking good 50-50s, and playing the ball where it should be played next. You saw the play a couple of games ago where Velocity got like 2 demos in the St. Clair end and then turned around for a center ball to score for Indiana Tech. And that's the sort of play that Velocity is good at making. It's the sort of play that you need because you can't just win on mechanics anymore. I think we are in a defensive meta. We're at the very top of Rocket League right now. Mechanics have gotten so good. It's an oscillating pattern. It's been my theory for a while, where you get players extremely good and consistent with their mechanics. And so then you're in an offensive meta for a little while. And so the defenses have to adjust, and the teams that are able to step up and defend better and play better in defense will start winning. And then you have a defensive meta where people follow their lead, figure out how to counter the offensive meta, and then it rotates back and forth. And that's a very generalist way of breaking Rocket League down, but that's what I see. And so generally, I think we are in a defensive meta at the very top of the game. And so you need to be strong in defense. You can't just have a good offense carry you, as we're seeing with Indiana Tech, because they have a very good offense. They have a lot of on-ball ability. Bluey as well is very strong mechanically as an individual on the ball. And I think with this team, he is being integrated now into a system that relies more on steady teamwork and not just the crazy mechanics that he was able to use last season when he was on an Indiana Tech roster that was more just like outside the top 48. Also, great play. The 50-50. This is your second goal. Hold on. Locking in. Stays up for Reshi. Velocity turns on a dime. He recognized that immediately. And that pressure on Arju, does that make him take a wide turn? Let's watch that again. Because look at this. So I can't keep the ball on his car because Bluey interferes. Great challenge, by the way, to keep that ball up and also take it cleanly off of Zai there. And then Reshi turns immediately. His speed up to the ball is fantastic. Velocity recognizes the situation instantly. He's got very little boost here, but right here, he sees that 2 players are up for St. Clair. Jazzy is betting on Zai getting more of that ball. He's getting a chunk of it, so he can be in the area to down it. Now Reshi turns immediately, recognizing space in the air as Arju is playing all the way back. He's completely third man here. So Jazzy rotates back to cover the... it's more near side post. He's rotating back. And so Velocity has one defender to interfere with. Reshi has to beat the other one. And so Velocity doesn't actually interfere with Arju at all. So there goes that point. But at least keeps him on the ground for a second. But Jazzy is the first challenger here. Arju's third man, and Reshi's flip reset is so powerful, Arju can't stop it. And that is a perfect 0-second play to force overtime. And now potentially, I think we all know where this game's going thanks to the bar at the bottom. Get Indiana Tech a big Game 4 win. Yeah, passing play, just off. Okay, dang it, Bluey. But still, let's watch how Indiana Tech works this. Off the opening kickoff, they have a little bit of pressure. They retreat for a second, but have boost. Redirection there. I mean, it doesn't do much other than give Bluey a bit more momentum center. And then, oh, St. Clair just get dusted here in transition. This cut from Velocity is perfect. Arju jumps at him. He just cuts it back. Jazzy's not even ready for it. Indiana Tech win a big game 4? Or was that 5? I think that was 4. Yeah, it was 4 because we're watching game 5 now. Yeah. All right. So let's watch now. Well, we'll skip ahead a little bit because we'll watch the full closeout game for Indiana Tech. But I don't know. I just love the pace with which Indiana Tech can play. Like, Velocity is quickly becoming one of my favorite players to watch in the CRL space. I love his decision making. I love the way he's willing to do anything for his team, and then he's still clean on the ball. Like, look at that. He catches and carries past 2 defenders there. And that is a big opening goal to keep momentum rolling after you just forced OT on 0 seconds and then won in overtime. Indiana Tech are a fun team to watch. Good personalities, too. If you didn't watch my open qualifier, my CRL open qualifier stream, they were like 10 feet away from me playing at the Chattanooga Convention Center. And so I was streaming on my setup, and I would turn the camera around to show everyone the facility. Every time I would turn it towards the facility, the Indiana Tech boys would be waving, and if they were in game, the director Jake would be waving at me. So I love the personalities. They're funny guys, and they're quickly emerging into the forefront of the CRL space. So let's watch. I want to watch Velocity. Let's watch how he plays here. Not playing for 3 seconds there. He's dead. But 2-goal lead at the halfway point of the game. Let's see what happens here. Because this is now a 2-2 series. So St. Clair are probably going to be stretching a little bit to try and get offensive chances, at least in the coming minutes. Nice team play. Shut down perfectly by Velocity. Great 50-50. Reshi whiffs on that, but it's all good. He still gets it to Velocity. See, the chemistry, man. Chemistry. It's there already. Pre-jump play doesn't work out. Bluey's immediately looking for a pass. It sets up a shot on target that will now establish Indiana Tech in the offensive zone. That kills time and forces a couple of challenges, which Arju dominates the first, and the second one's a free because Bluey chipped it. So fair enough. St. Clair earned possession right back. But this being a defensive meta, you have to be good at your counterattack game. And not just what your players can do on the ball when you're able to escape, because against good teams, you are not going to be able to leave your half unless you're able to boost starve them or create space yourself with usually team passing plays. Mechanics can as well get you out of defense, like a flip reset past a couple or a dominant 50-50 win, but outlet passes are in right now. And you can see that is what Indiana Tech are searching for in defense. The outlet pass that Velocity was a part of, or the 2 outlet passes actually that he was a part of, wasted time. It got Indiana Tech out of defense, which it didn't put them in an immediate scoring position, but at least it pressured St. Clair enough to where they have to play defense for a moment so Indiana Tech can reset their back line. So now 2v2, Jazzy beats the first, Velocity collects, gets bumped, recovers well to get that extra touch. Still awkward, and yeah, Zai will punish that. So nicely done. St. Clair, you can't hold their offense dormant for very long. All 3 of them, they are a very balanced, I think, team. Very well-rounded. Not when you add up their individuals, but they are a team of well-rounded individuals. And both are viable strategies here. Such a good disguise as well. Velocity makes it look like he's playing the ball and then turns to try and throw off St. Clair. It doesn't work, but the ideas are still there. And so on 0 seconds, a little sketchy, but it's all good. Played into space, and you win a pivotal game 6. So now it is 3-2 Indiana Tech. And we're gonna go into the closeout game now. And I'll pull up the stats as this replay starts. I have the ball chasing group right next to me. Standout players. Velocity scored a goal per game, and that was on 3.33 shots per game, so he shoots 30%. And St. Clair score first here. Nice opening kickoff pressure. And see, Arju and Zai are next up with goals per game. Actually, everyone is next up in goals per game. Everyone else outside of Jazzy averaged 0.67 goals per game. But let's watch now, because this is an important sequence. You can see in the timeline there with Indiana Tech scoring the next couple. Pass back gives Reshi space. It's a light tap. Jazzy is forced to panic a little bit, and that is a great punish. Hold on. I want to watch Velocity on this. Because that, I mean, St. Clair, awkward because Jazzy doesn't have boost here, and Bluey stole that 100, so Arju doesn't either. Reshi sets up, awkward play, but it's good rotations. Decent 50-50, but that's a great shot over a couple of defenders. Like, you can only really play that bar down, and Velocity nails the shot. It's a clutch one, too, to tie up after St. Clair scored first in Game 6. Because this is small potatoes. This is a small potato series for St. Clair. They are not going to be stressing because they're down 3-2 in a best of 7 in week 3 of the NECC. Like, it's league play. There's no elimination on the line. There's no LAN qualification on the line. They're not stressing right now. So it's not going to be easy to cause them to panic. They are going to be properly positioned in most cases. And so you still have to keep composed, because for Indiana Tech, I mean, this is a big scalp to take. This is a big win for them if they're able to convert on it. Oh, Bluey. Dude. You want to talk about composure? Look at him hitting this. Backboard Demon. That's read perfectly. Yeah, okay. And that's why Indiana Tech have recruited and built around who was their star last season. Because Chippy and Miller were good players. Chippy still is a good player on the Indiana Tech B team, but they are not Velocity and Reshi level, just if you're looking straight up at RLCS results. They're not. And so Indiana Tech believed in their star piece in Bluey. They built around him to keep the culture consistent, and they followed the blueprint right now in CRL. That is, you have a really solid American or Canadian player, and you build around that player with European imports. St. Clair went the full European imports route, but I mean, you have a lot of examples of the 2 European, 1 standout NA player strategy. Oh, that's a mistake, though. That could have been a goal. Still might be. Zai. Okay, has the ball taken away from him by Velocity. Tough read. Missed chance there for St. Clair. Another good opportunity. Taken away by Velocity, cutting in the midfield. I love his midfield game. Boo's hunting a demo right there, but this is still, these are good looks. And that's one of those moments right there where you really have to ask the player whether that was an intentional drop-down pass from Velocity to Bluey. But it results in redirection that pushes Indiana Tech into offense, and we'll see if they can keep it. Bluey's boost is really annoying. Sparkles. It sends me that players can play with boosts. That sounds like that. To me, it would be so distracting. I have to play with the standard like gold rush boost, whatever the fake alpha boost is, or the Cosmos one. Oh, Velocity, you're not Bluey, man. You're not Bluey. All right, here comes a big sequence for Indiana Tech. Couple of saves forced. Reshi's got full boost. Bluey's good as well, protecting the midfield line. Steals that 102, passes across. Zai's covering it. It's good defense. And it just reset. Bluey gets that 100 boost again. Knows exactly when that 10-second timer, I'm assuming, expires. And this is such good time wasting. Indiana Tech aren't pushing. They're not trying to force a third goal. But they're not falling back either. They're not just retreating and giving up space to St. Clair. This is like a come take space if you can sort of mindset from Indiana Tech. Oh, Reshi. Musty right there. Close range musty flick. And St. Clair just cannot escape. They're not starved of boost. They just can't find a way out. They're being out 50'd. Archie's forced to play that long. Double commit. Velocity has the open backboard, so that means, yeah, Arju and Zai have no boost. Suffocating from Indiana Tech. And all they have to do is ground it. Close out. Big upset. Sit that ball down, Velocity. Oh, and Reshi closes it with a bump on Zai as well. That is so fitting. Look at him run ahead. No boost. Sets his sights on Zai. Plans ahead. Knows that Velocity will be able to ground it if he gets that bump. They do. Tech, yeah, baby. Indiana Tech upset the number 3 overall ranked team in Collegiate Rocket League, according to the Bepic 48. But I don't know where they ended up on the colleague poll. Either way, huge upset for Indiana Tech. Shout out to those boys. I love the personalities. I love the play style. They're a fun squad to watch, and you should keep up with them. They stream a lot of their matches. Ind Tech Esports on Twitch. IND Tech Esports. Highly recommend it. Go support them. Tech, yeah, baby. Like and subscribe. See you later.